Joined this evening by Congressman Bob Latta, back from Washington into the home district. We'll start with talking about health care. You and I have had a lot of conversations about health care, and the one thing you said was that you wanted to, any kind of talk about it after the summer break because the constituents could really talk to the representatives. Now the constituents are having that opportunity. Some of the debates are getting a little bit heated. Are you finally glad that this discussion's happening?
Absolutely. And again, you know, we've had a lot of bills come through, massive bills. You know, the stimulus bill, that was $787 billion. It's going to cost over $1 trillion in the end run. That bill had absolutely no committee hearings. It came out one night and was on the floor the next day. Same thing happened when we were looking at the omnibus bill that came through. We had a 300-page amendment the night before. Nobody had seen it.
Right.
And what they wanted people to do in this bill, 1,018 pages, is that here it is, try to figure out what's in it, and then, you know, say we're voting on it. And fortunately, the American people finally said, absolutely not. This is going to be the most monumental thing that's going to affect America down the road, and Americans are scared.
Okay, so what are your constituents telling you? You've had a couple days here now to talk to them. Specifically, what are their concerns?
Well, you know, it's interesting. When I go to the grocery store or wherever in Bowling Green at home, if I stand in one spot in the store, I can be there for 45 minutes. I have people come up to me and they say, you know, we're really worried about this. What's the rush? And they don't want to see what they have in American health care destroyed. Because as more and more information comes out on this bill, people are saying, you know, we've got a real problem with this. And it's just, you know, I wish I would have come up with it, but one of my colleagues from Georgia said President Obama spent more time picking on a dog than they did in rolling out this health care bill.
That's an interesting take.
So, you know, so there's been very little time on this, and you're talking about a massive restructuring. I've had Americans that had been Canadians that are doctors coming up to me and said, let me tell you exactly what's happening in my former country. And they're very concerned about what could happen
Okay,
here.
so what specifically is the biggest concern maybe of your constituents or yourself personally?
Well, I think right off the bat is we don't want to have rationing. We want to make sure that people can still go to the doctor without somebody from the government looking at over that doctor's shoulder saying, you know what, we know more than you do about this patient. That's absolutely wrong. We want to make sure that that doctor has that face-to-face evaluation, and not when, you know, it turns out that you write down on a sheet saying that this patient has symptoms X. It gets sent into some bureaucrat and said this is all you're going to be able to treat them with because it's cheaper. Treatment is done 5 states away, but that might not be what your doctor thinks you ought to have.
Okay, and quickly too, you've talked to me a lot about the debt in the past. President Obama says this is not going to add to the debt. In your opinion, will it or won't?
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about a bill right now. You know, first when they scored it early, they said it was going to cost $634 billion. Then it went to $800 billion. Then it went to $1.2 trillion. We've heard in the out years it could even go up over $2 trillion. And right now, everybody, you know, it's all been discussed down there that we're looking at massive deficits building up. 114 million Americans won't have the coverage. It's from an independent study that they have today that they'll lose it. You're looking at probably 4.7 million Americans losing their jobs over this because, you know, the increased costs that are come on to businesses. So this thing is very, very scary. And, you know, not only on the healthcare side, but you could lose your job over it.
Okay, in the short amount of time we have left here, if there were some tweaks and some changes made down the line, is a healthcare bill, is there a bill out there that you could vote for?
You know, I think that tweaks is not the right word here because I think that, first of all, this is a bill that's come out of the Democrat leadership. On the House side, Republicans have been completely shut out of the process. This thing's been rolled out on their end, and they're saying, okay, vote for it. If this thing was such a great bill, they have a 257 to 178 majority in the House of Representatives. You only need 218 votes to pass this thing out. They can't do it. Their own people are saying, wait a minute, we've got a real problem with this bill because the constituents back home are calling, and I mean the people back home are calling.
Oh, yeah, I bet they are.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks very much.
Congressman Bob Latta, and that is tonight's Talkback.